And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, on a glorious free agency day with the NBA and the NHL. Yes, day one for the NHL, NBA free agency. It is outrageous, and we got more news to share with all of you here on the Snake Sports Talk Show, wherever and however you may be watching and listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. Wild news that we have gotten as it just broke up and on social media. Hope all of you are enjoying this day here as we get into it. So, listen, we haven't even rang the bells yet on 4th of July. We're only 3 days away, the first day of the new month. And listen, you know how Philadelphia is ringing bells today. So it just happened, and it is crazy. So the Philadelphia 76ers have made the big trade, and this is exactly where teams like them and the Minnesota Timberwolves needed to make the move to get over the hump. So the Philadelphia 76ers have made a trade with the Boston Celtics today where Jaylen Brown is headed to Philly for picks and Paul George. Wow. What an amazing trade by the 76ers. So let's start with the team that got Jaylen Brown. This is perfect for Jaylen Brown and for the Philadelphia 76ers for a multitude of reasons. Number one is you've already got future young bright stars with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, and with the entirety of the rotation, Jaylen Brown is going to fit in beautifully with this, and he can play both on and off the ball. And the best part is that when you look at it, offensively, the team's going to be able to score and be dangerous within the paint. Defensively, you know Jaylen Brown is going to work his best. Same with Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe. Like, this is a really good rotation. The other thing is that this gives Joel Embiid now more breathing room because he doesn't have to fully be the guy. And we knew that the minute that Tyrese Maxey stepped up to the plate. So this gives now the Sixers an extra boost. And here's the funny thing. The NBA, especially in the Eastern Conference, you just saw what the Knicks just did to winning an NBA title. And they've got a great young core. They got veteran pieces, and that's what all it took. I mean, you mix in your Landry Shamits, your Mitchell Robinsons, and the rest is history. And Karl Anthony Towns coming to town. Like, this is what was perfect for the New York Knicks. And now everyone in the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat are going to look different now with Giannis, and we'll get into that in a second. The Timberwolves now in the West, they're going to look different with LaMelo Ball, but they got some attitude. But all they needed was somebody who's got great ball handling skills and who can work up and on the offense. And now you've got the Philadelphia 76ers. So this is perfect for Philly. The Eastern Conference is going to continue to get competitive, and it's going to continue to get better. Like, I'm going to be watching the Eastern Conference all year long this next year. And what you're going to see is that the Knicks, the Pacers, the Sixers, there are many teams right now that are fighting for those positions to getting into the Eastern Conference final and eventually into the NBA finals representing the conference. But the Sixers today really made a big splash. And Jaylen Brown, who's young and can give you points in the paint. And the funny thing is that it's already a culture in which Philadelphia, they push for their teams to be better. Go look at the Eagles. Go look at the Phillies. Hell, go look at the Flyers. They look completely different. And now you're looking at the Sixers, who they took down Boston. Mind you, the Knicks probably would have been in a little bit more trouble had the Sixers not taken down the Knicks. But they did. And when the Sixers took down the Celtics, and when they did, it was a better path for the Knicks to get to the final. Like I kept saying it, there's no world and where I don't see the Knicks making the final. And they did, and they won it. So enjoy the championship, because we know the Eastern Conference is going to continue to get tougher. It's going to get better. And I think with Philadelphia adding Jaylen Brown into the middle of this mix, you're going to have somebody who works both on ball and off the ball. And I mean, everybody's kind of concerned about the ISO ball, but I think it's going to be perfect with the rotation with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. They got a couple of really good young studs that they've even addressed up and into the draft. So the Sixers are going to be much better than what they've been in the last few years. And it comes down to realization about what's going on with Joel Embiid. So I think this works out perfectly. So, but with Boston is not going to be the same team. So now you've got Jason Tatum, who has to rehab off of the injury because it got worse by the time that we were up and into the playoffs. And you go and get a wing defender in Paul George, and you end up picking up picks. I think the Celtics are basically reloading themselves, because to me, you go and you get the picks, you go and get Paul George, and you're still dealing with guys like Derek Brown, like you're Derek White, and then you're also dealing with Jason Tatum. You're dealing with a couple of others. I think the Celtics, I think this is a step back for them. I don't see them possibly making the finals. Maybe they get just short of it, like very close, maybe up and into the play-in, but that's about as close as you can get it. They're going and reloading up and in picks because they're trying to get younger. Maybe there's another thing that could potentially happen, but I think that'll happen for next year. And I think they realize that. So getting rid of Jaylen Brown was one thing that they needed to deal with as far as the money is concerned. So now that they have, now all you're paying is Jason Tatum. And everybody believes Jason Tatum's the guy. Jason Tatum's the face of the league. But to me, he doesn't bring that aura. And I've been saying this when it comes to the face of the league every single time, is that I've got one who's a really good scorer and a really good offensive player, but doesn't give me that attitude aura. I need to see more of that drive. And then on the other side, you think he would have the aura in Jaylen Brown, but he's too inconsistent. They needed to break this up. And that's exactly what the Celtics does. And by the way, the Celtics were not doing any favors for Jaylen Brown. None. And this is why Jaylen, they needed to pack things up and they needed to break up this relationship. So now Jaylen's headed to Philly, and he's probably going to be more pissed off, and he's going to be more driven, more motivated. And Boston, they're not going to be anywhere close. They'll probably be more of a play-in or maybe in a lesser seed. But that's about as close as you could get it. Because while I've got the Pacers, listen, don't disregard the Pacers. The Pacers are going to be fine. Once Tyrese Halliburton is 110% healthy, they've got their speed. No one is going to stop this team. They're going to continue to drive. They're going to continue to utilize a lot of their speed to basically wear out a lot of teams in the East. And then you've got the Sixers, who's got attitude. They got physical. They got really good offensive scores within the paint and also on the outsides of the rim, like everywhere around. The Sixers are going to be much better. Then you've got the Knicks. You got a couple of other teams in the Eastern Conference. So this is why I think for the Celtics, it was a good thing for them to do this, because these two were not even on the same pages. And the Celtics were not doing any favors for Jaylen Brown, and this is why he wanted out. And so now that he's gotten his wish, the Sixers now can start focusing up and on picks. So this draft was really important for teams that know that they needed to load up and on draft picks so that they can go and get their future stars, because this was a loaded draft. And this is why a lot of teams, they utilized it. They made a lot of moves. They released up some cap space, and it looks a lot better. So, wow. Breaking news of that. Jaylen Brown now officially a Philadelphia 76er. Boston going gets Paul George and picks. And again, I don't think this Celtics team is going to really look that – they're not going to look that great. They're not going to look like what they once was. And I think they're okay with that. I think when you look at Brad Stevens and what he's trying to put together, I mean, the rest of it is all going to be, okay, they got to put everything all together now. And how Joe Mazzulla is really going to manage that, I mean, hopefully Jason Tatum is 110% healthy as he's rehabbing from the injury, but this is about all that you're going to get. And so Boston, they're going to be close. Like, I just think it's going to be a rocky season for the Celtics. You get rid of one player, and the both of them really complemented each other well. But then by the time that they started talking about who was frankly better than the other, and Jaylen Brown is not in the USA team, and then it just creates more controversy, and Jaylen Brown's like, man, I got to get out. So Philadelphia, good for them. I mean, that's incredible. Like, we didn't even think we can see the day in that which Philadelphia was willing to turn the page for this. And now they have. And with no Daryl Morey in the middle of this picture, and now that you've got the new GM, and I like him, he's aggressive. He's a guy that can really make serious moves. So I think with Philadelphia, you're going to see a completely different identity. I know now what the Sixers can potentially be. The last few years, I couldn't even figure it out. So now I can finally enjoy this. It's going to be really good. Talk a little bit more about the NHL free agency. There was a lot of big-time moves and really some moves that I really, really do like. But we've just discussed about the Jaylen Brown move to Philadelphia and Paul George going to Boston. Great moves, like really good moves on both ends. I mean, it needed to happen. So, but again, I think you are starting to see the brutal, honest truth on both ends, where now the Sixers just got better. And to me, I think really Boston, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard, tough to judge. But appreciate everybody for joining in, taking a seat, hanging out with us. It's going to be fun. Okay, so in that trade, by the way, before we take a break, the Celtics originally inquired about VJ Edgecombe in the trade. And Philadelphia did a great job in saying, yeah, no, not going to happen. VJ is part of our future. You're not going to get him that easily. It's just not going to happen. That was incredible. The fact that they were able to turn that down and revise the deal and yet still make the move is one of the reasons that when you look at certain businesses, this is what they do. This is really good business for Philadelphia. The Eagles may not look the same, but this right here, a Sixers team for Philadelphia, this looks really promising. I like this for them. All right, folks. Going to be taking a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more about a lot of the NBA moves that had just recently happened. Ja Morant now to Portland, Giannis to Miami, Kawhi Leonard reunited back in the 6. Like, there's a lot of things you can really be excited for the new up-and-coming season in the NBA. All righty, folks. Well, summer's upon us. And no better time than to be getting your pick in already early for the NBA season, the NHL season, Major League Baseball going on, the World Cup. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. But our good partners at Payday Fantasy have you covered during the FIFA World Cup, where you get to pick on all of your favorite countries who you believe are going to make it into the Sweet 16, all the way to the Elite 8, and all the way to the Final 4 teams, and further and beyond. Also, your favorite players to watch, whether it's Messi, whether it's Cristiano Ronaldo, Kylian Mbappe, wherever and whomever. Pick the outcomes. Pick the over-unders and wherever you are. Enjoy it with your friends and family and get paid with Payday Fantasy every time when you set your rosters and you also set together your prop pick'ems. However you're feeling and however you want to get paid. Get paid with Payday Fantasy. Remember, free $5 entry when you sign up, and also using the code SNAKE for a 100% deposit match-up bonus of up to $100. Every time you do, the pot gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So check it out for yourself at paydayfantasy.com. and download it on your mobile device to Google Play and the App Store and enjoy the fun and get paid with Payday Fantasy.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket, and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com, and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Welcome back here onto the Snake Sports Talk Show, where you're home for big news here on all NBA and NHL free agency. We just broke down the trade between Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics, sending Jaylen to Philadelphia. Man, it's a lot. So, the NBA, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I did not watch up a lot of the NBA until we got into the playoffs, okay? But this got bigger and better. And so a lot of things right now are still kind of breaking down as we're continuing to kind of keep up to date of what's happening in the NHL and in the NBA. We're going to talk a lot more about that. But so we've witnessed a lot of moves. LaMelo Ball heading to Minnesota. Giannis heading to the Miami Heat. Kawhi reuniting with Toronto. And now Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia. Mind you, we still got the Pacers. And we still got the Thunder. We even got the Lakers, who made a ton of moves. They go and get Walker Kessler. And they get a couple of other really good players. So it just broke out a couple days ago. LeBron James has come out and stated that he is going to be playing somewhere else this next up-and-coming season. Where that will be will depend on where he chooses to go. But the NBA, truthfully, is in such good hands with all these moves, and which is why it's actually kind of benefiting LeBron. Because I've been saying this for the last few years, is that LeBron won a title in 2020, which we already knew the season was going to be wrapped up anyway. And then we go into COVID, and then it's an entire bubble. And now, like, he's got a title. And after that, the Lakers have been failing to getting back into the Western Conference for quite a while. Like, they made it back in, and they didn't even make it further past that. So now LeBron, and they got new ownerships. they are focusing a lot of their chips on Luka Doncic, which as they should. It's the same owners who own the Dodgers, and this is exactly what they do from here. So now LeBron, and this is also where the Lakers actually parted ways the best way they could, because it allowed LeBron to now come out publicly and state that he's going to be playing somewhere else. So that allowed him to do that. They weren't going to throw dirt on his name. They weren't going to disrespect him. They were going to allow LeBron to have that moment. And so now LeBron has the freedom and the choice to go wherever he wants. And everybody also speculates because of what happened where Draymond Green, he's not leaving Golden State, but he did decline the player option, which is about $27.5 million. And that's opening room for someone like LeBron to join the Warriors. So understand the landscape of what's happening in the NBA, because this is all a part of Adam Silver's parity league, because there's no super teams. There's also no dynasties. In the last 8 seasons, we have had a new crown champion, either first-timers or ones who have won for the first time in 53 years. This is what the NBA and Adam Silver, this is his accomplishment. This is what he does. And so now LeBron, like, he can go and team up. There's a couple teams to mind. Golden State is one of them that I think we would all love to watch and love to see. But then there's also Minnesota, who just picked up LaMelo Ball. And if you think about it, you got Anthony Edwards, you've got Rudy Gobert, you got Jaden McDaniels, and you got Ayo. And I truthfully believe that when you have a really good rotation like this, adding LeBron to this mix and even taking a league minimum is humongous. That is something to where now you've got a really, really strong veteran in your rotation that's going to help the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Chris Finch is looking for his moment to getting the T-Wolves over the hump and eventually win a title. And then there's Philadelphia, which this made it even more attractive because now they have Jaylen Brown. You got Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid. And Philadelphia, and even the Eastern Conference as a whole, would love to have someone like LeBron there. And I mean, it all comes down to how business is ran in the front office. But I am a firm believer that LeBron's got options. There's not many, but he has options, the best to its capabilities, because I don't see him reuniting with Miami. I don't see him going to South Beach because, honestly, they've already got Giannis and they've got Davion Mitchell. They've got a couple of other players that they lost Norman Powell. So this is already a 5-year plan with Pat Riley. I don't think LeBron would be in that 5-year plan. Then you also got Cleveland. He ain't going back there. Why would Cleveland all of a sudden take him for a third time? Because to me, it just feels like we need to air another episode of Friends, is what it sounds like when it comes to LeBron going to Cleveland, because you already got Donovan Mitchell, you got Evan Mobley, you got a lot of really good players. And just because of what had happened with James Harden, like, again, I don't agree with the James Harden move. I've never have, because we all know how James Harden can be in the playoffs. There's no point. There's no point in Cleveland even doing that. So I think LeBron, those are the 3 best options. Golden State, you play with your boy Steph Curry and all of them. Philadelphia, Jaylen Brown has now made it attractive of a destination to go there. And then there's Minnesota. 3 teams, 3 different options. Take a pick. I think, honestly, either one of those would be a really good destination for someone like LeBron. And look, he wants to go and get his 5th ring. Let him. I think all of us have already summed up LeBron's career. Because LeBron, let's be honest, you could surpass Jordan with the points. You won't surpass Jordan when it comes to the aura and when it comes to 6 straight titles. and not losing a finals. You're not going to surpass that. But no one is going to give you crap by going and getting your 5th ring. Okay? If you want to cap your career off in the best way, this is the best way to do it. No one is going to honestly look at LeBron and think he is not one of arguably the greatest players we've ever watched in our lifetime. Because it's so hard, and I have been in many conversations outside of this platform where I've talked with people who are all basketball heads, and they will tell you otherwise from different eras. It gets messy. And when it comes to LeBron's conversations, it gets wild. But again, I don't think we'll ever give LeBron crap. You go do what you need to do. Go and get your title. I mean, if you've got more titles than Jordan, and then here's the thing, like, I think people would look at you very differently. But because your record is your record the way it stands, this is kind of the reality. But you've surpassed him in points. You've surpassed him in body of work with as far as many years as he's had. Now, remember, if Jordan did not end up retiring in the year that he did, could the Rockets still have had their championship with Akeem Olajuwon? And I love Akeem. Like, there's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of I'm spacing out. There's a lot of hypotheticals. That's really what this is. It's all hypothetical talk. No one is right or wrong in this situation, but there's a ton of hypotheticals that everybody could be interested in figuring out what could have been, but that's a long rabbit hole that you would be going down every time when you try to break it down. But again, he's got options. I just don't think Miami and Cleveland are even the best suitable options that LeBron has. It just doesn't make any sense. Let's get to the news.
And now, here we go. Hey everyone, it's story time. This is the Hot Press.
Well, as we're breaking down a lot of the breaking news that's been happening all around in the NBA and in the NHL, we are going to shift our focus up to the NHL free agency as it kicked off. So many humongous moves that has happened all in the span of hours, including one from the Toronto Maple Leafs, where they have officially signed goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky to a 3-year contract deal. So this looks to be the last contract, at least big contract, that Sergei will get. So it's 3 years, $21 million altogether, with $7 million per year. What a move, though, by the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they've needed to make a move to really help out with Austin Matthews and with Menny and company. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are in a better situation than what the Edmonton Oilers are, because they just traded away a couple of players, and then they also bring in another goaltender, which we have no idea what's going to happen with them. And I think Toronto, it's go time up for them, because now they've got their new head coach. They got a new GM where John Chaika is really trying to turn the page of what really didn't work. So, and Toronto actually had they had a pretty good day today. They had some real good moves, because they ended up going and getting themselves Sergei Bobrovsky. They go and get themselves Jack Roslovic. And they've also gotten a couple of other players, Colton Sissons for 2 years, Teddy Bluger for 2 years. So they're starting to sign guys that really are real good role players, even Brandon Duhaime from Washington. So keep an eye out for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Zach McEwen. So they have been spending up the money, and they have really been working well with different deals. So I'm excited for what the Maple Leafs are going to look like, because at the end of the day, Austin Matthews was not happy and was disappointed in the way in which the things were looking for the Leafs. So now I think it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more competent, and I do think it makes a lot of sense. Continuing on the in the NHL, where the San Jose Sharks, who have been the big name around in the league that has been making great moves up to this point, where including not only just who they drafted in the draft, but they also ended up adding in Mason Marchment for 5 years, Jacob Trouba for 4 years, and they have acquired Darnell Nurse from the Edmonton Oilers. And now Darnell Nurse is headed to San Jose. And what a move, what a trade. They get rid of Shakir Makamadullin and Zach Sharp. It's actually like they didn't even get much back up and into return for the Edmonton Oilers. Like they did not. And on top of all of that, Darnell Nurse, now his contract is going to be on San Jose's plate because now they have to deal with a 9.25 cap hit. And I think San Jose got much, much better. They got themselves a quality defenseman, which is what they've been needing to work on for quite a while. They get Jacob Trouba, who's an offensive defenseman, a former captain who really can complement well with Macklin Celebrini and others. So I think this is a really, really good move for San Jose. They had a heck of a day. Many other moves yet still looking to be made. But this has been really good to see so far from them. And finally, moves that have been made that is actually turning things around after they just made the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. The Utah Mammoth have made two big moves where they have acquired Vincent Trocheck from the New York Rangers for Sean Durzi, Cole Bowden, and a third-round pick in 2027. Meanwhile, they signed Anders Lee, the former captain for the New York Islanders, to a 3-year deal. And so the Utah Mammoth are really getting serious. And that's where I'm looking at the Seattle Kraken, and I'm sorely disappointed because this is a franchise that, just like Utah, who's a new franchise, Utah has been making better deals. So this just goes to show you, and this is what we've been talking about for quite a while, that when it came to Utah, how were they going to strike after they just made the playoffs? A brand new team in a new place. This is a really big deal for a team as a new expansion franchise, that this is the best thing that they can do. Like, this, good for Utah. Utah is putting together a really, really good culture team. Like, I guarantee you, Utah Hawk has got to be feeling amped up for this. So I think this team is going to get very aggressive. You still got Clayton Keller. And I think with adding Anders Lee and adding in Vincent Trocheck, you've got much needed offense. This is what they've been wanting. And so I think this is a chance where Utah will be back up and into the playoffs next season. And there's going to be a couple teams that are sadly going to drop off. So I really, really do love this move. So we got a lot to talk about with the NHL, free agency, and a lot of moves here up and coming. All right, there was the news.
And now, here we go. Hey everyone, it's story time. This is the hot press.
So my last take on the NBA before we move on to the NHL here and before we take our break. So this was an interesting move that happened a couple of days ago. And this was Ja Morant going to the Portland Trailblazers. I know everybody wants to kind of poke and make jokes and jabs and all the rest of it because we just had the new Jailblazers documentary that came out on Netflix. I think it's a great documentary. Great, like there was a lot of things I didn't even truthfully know about. Like I knew about what was happening with a lot of the Trailblazers teams, but it made a lot of sense about what happened with Rasheed Wallace and a lot of other really good players that have played there, and how in Oregon, like how it really made up that entirety of the team. So Ja Morant now heads to Portland, and it's a new, fresh place. And many people think that he's in purgatory just by going to the Blazers. But I'm kind of the opposite. So here's my thing. Fresh new place is not a bad thing for players. It's really not. Sometimes change of scenery is always necessary. And it's needed for players because this was not working out for Memphis. It was not. Like this was something that we knew like it needed to happen. It needed to happen quick. So they traded him away for Jeremy Grant and for Chris Murray. So you get Scoot Henderson, Damian Lillard, Ja. I mean, this is going to be a heck of a lineup. And here's the thing. Ja, and the way that I kind of outlook this is Damian Lillard is getting up in an age. He's not going to be the same one. Okay? He's honestly, I could see him be a 2 guard for this reason, because number one is age is getting up there. 2, he's got all the experience in the world, and he's a really good, easygoing guy. Like, Damian Lillard is a very class act. The other thing is Dame, you saw what he was able to do with Carmelo Anthony at the time. Could you imagine what he could do with John Morant? Like, Ja just needed a change of scenery. He needed to get out of that thug mentality, the showing off, the showing off the pews. Like, you got to stop. And this is where I think this is a fresh new set of eyes. And I think this is where Damian Lillard, I mean, Dame will tell you, like, I have dealt with different characters in the entirety of my career. Like, I come here to Portland, and then get traded to Milwaukee, come back to my roots, and I just want to play. I just want to play. Whether I win a title or I don't. I mean, I would love to see Dame win a title. I really would. So, I just seriously think this is going to work out pretty well. I think it'll be good. And again, I think with Portland, like, you may not look at them as flashy, but they are a young team that I think if all of the pieces are right, and at the same time, like, everybody is healthy and John Morant is clear-minded, I think this Portland Trailblazers team could make an argument in the West. Like, it really can. I mean, right now you're dealing with Trae Young in Washington, but I think, truthfully, I think this will work out for Portland. All right, so we have the NHL free agency, and this actually had just happened. So the Edmonton Oilers, and here's what I'm about to say about this, because Edmonton, I don't know really what they're doing as much, but now I understand what they're goaltending. So they just signed Frederik Andersen to a 1-year, $1 million contract. They go and sign Max Jones. They trade away Darnell Nurse. They re-signed Kasperi Kapanen. And they ended up getting Devon Levy, and now they're going to have a duo with him and Frederik Andersen. So it sounds to me like Carolina is going with Brandon Bussi. And sure enough, I mean, why not? He's a southpaw type goaltender, and it works out best. They also let go of Calvin Pickard. And, one of my things is I just don't know what season I'm going to get with Edmonton at all. I mean, they go and then they bring in Mike Babcock, who we all know in the last few years, and then the type of style coaching that he's done in the last couple of years has not really looked the best. And I think when he was up in Toronto, that's where it was really going downhill. I mean, Mike Babcock was a great coach in Detroit. And then once that was done, he goes to Toronto in hopes that they would have been a better team. That didn't work out well. And then he goes to Columbus, and he's not even back in. So Edmonton is a question mark to me. I think everybody is all they're all kind of eyeballing right now the Winnipeg Jets, because they had just signed Stuart Skinner to a 2-year contract, and we're all looking at the Connor Hellebuck sweepstakes right now. We're not even entirely sure what's all going to happen in the next couple days, but there are some teams out there, and by the time that we get to the bottom half of the hour, I will mention so far in day one who my best teams were that made these signings. Because as I'm looking at it right now, San Jose's had a great day. Toronto, low-key, has kind of had a great day. Florida, we already know, has had a great couple of days. And then you look at a couple of other teams, like I think Nashville has also had a pretty damn good day the last couple of days themselves. But then I'm also looking at several other teams that are also doing really, really well. But Edmonton is a team that I have a question mark all over. And then Seattle's a question mark. I didn't really like a lot of their free agency, and maybe they could convince me otherwise. But, Detroit, we're waiting on Dylan Larkin. Ottawa, they made at least some decent signings. But we know Columbus is in a completely different rebuild, but they could be a team that could be in the runnings, that could be a lot better. But I even say Pittsburgh actually had a decent day. So, and then Vancouver, what is Vancouver doing? A lot of these signings are just really interesting. I don't know what they're doing. Philadelphia has also kept themselves. They've kept their foot on the gas. So there's everything to really look at from here. So when we come back from the break, I will be talking a lot about some of the teams that, in all honesty, and especially in my hometown team of the Vegas Golden Knights, they made a couple of moves that we already know is going to be primed up for a move at some point. We don't know what it may be, but it's a team that still does really good business and still really does very, very well. Well, we love hearing about all of the great stories. And here on the Snake Sports Talk Show, we love interviewing a lot of great former, current athletes, coaches, and so much more. And also listening to a lot of our beat writers and journalists from all around covering the sport. Well, there's one other company who loves great stories themselves. They love the underdog stories. Whether you've served in our nation's great military branches as we celebrate 250 years of the United States, and as we celebrate 4th of July and our Independence Day from our forefathers in 1776, True Victory is the company that really enjoys a underdog story. Whether you served in the nation's military, whether you are a grinder, whether it's trying to keep yourself in the best fit and healthy way possible, or you're a former athlete or current athlete who has a story themselves to tell. True Victory is all about the underdog stories. And every time when you purchase apparel, hats, hoodies, and so much more, you are sharing your story with the rest of the world of what your underdog story is. Check out their mission at truevictory.com and check out all of their great merchandises today and get yourselves True Victory story and share your underdog story to get posted up on social media today.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing deal of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
So many fantastic moves in both the NHL and the NBA. Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia, John Morant to Portland, LaMelo Ball to Minnesota, and then in the NHL, Frederik Andersen to Edmonton, Sergei Bobrovsky to Toronto. The San Jose Sharks, they're swimming. We're all here and covering it for you here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. So, all right, so to me, here's the way that I look at it, is for many people know, in my entire journey on this show, so I'm originally born and raised in Las Vegas for 29 years before I ended up moving here to beautiful Colorado, as they say. Absolutely love it. It's like second home to me, and I would never trade it for anything else. It's a great place to raise my family. It's a great place to really enjoy all of life's values, all of that. And so, but when I always think about my hometown, I'm always thinking about the one team that really makes me feel so good inside all the time is the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, this has been an interesting offseason for them, even though I do think they have made somewhat of solid moves. But in my opinion, one of the things that I think what kind of gets people a little bit confused of is earlier they've re-signed Rasmus Anderson to a 7-year contract deal. So initially, okay, so the fandom in me, I wasn't particularly happy with this particular move, but I'm trying my best to give the benefit of the doubt to a guy that came in and had to deal with 3 different coaches from Calgary to the 2 in Vegas between Bruce Cassidy and John Tortorella. I'm trying to give the best benefit of the doubt. And so what I look at is that it doesn't matter what I think and what you say when it comes to the front offices. They're going to make moves regardless. It doesn't matter. But the way in which that I look at it, Vegas, who has done cutthroat, no filter business as usual, just goes to show they are one of the well-respected organizations in the league. So they've already gotten rid of a lot of different players. Like Colton Sissons goes to Toronto. Keegan Colasar now is going to Detroit. There are so many different moves happening all around. Like it's insane. But to me, there's still room for a big potential move. And I know a lot of people are all kind of anticipating it, and that's Dylan Larkin to the from the Detroit Red Wings. Because as of earlier, I don't know how petty Detroit has got to be to do this, but they have basically stripped Dylan Larkin of the captain symbol. Like, what good was that supposed to do? If he's really just preparing himself for a departure, it doesn't make any sense to me. And for the record, Detroit has made some really interesting moves. I don't know what they're doing. And Detroit, I think everybody is anticipating and they're all waiting for them to make that move of Dylan Larkin to Vegas. I think everybody is. And there's no question of that. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And we all know Dylan Larkin, in my opinion, who has played with Jack Eichel in the Olympic team, like that, they're pretty solid. They're in good hands. And so I think with Dylan Larkin, he's looking for a fresh new look because Detroit has disappointed him. Detroit has let him down. And so now the Vegas Golden Knights, who are trying to open up cap and who are trying to make things better for themselves and at the same time, like continuing to be a competent organization as much as they possibly can. This is what they do. Okay. And you could already look at the Western Conference about how competent that all these other teams are. The Avalanche are competent. Nashville is competent. Vegas is competent. Like, I would make the argument San Jose is competent today. Because Edmonton, I don't even know what they're going to look like. Edmonton is making all of these interesting moves, and they go and get Frederik Andersen to pair up with Levy, which now, what is that going to look like on their duo? And does that really do a favor for Connor McDavid with Mike Babcock? Like, nobody really knows. Dallas is also competent. Minnesota is competent. Like, there are 3 to 4 different teams that will be in the playoffs this next up and coming season. I hope you know that. I mean, this is exactly with what the NHL and free agency and the draft all do. That's the same thing with the NFL. We get 3-4 new teams in the playoffs every year. Like, are the Panthers really going to be a playoff team after I looked at their schedule? Yeah, there's going to be several other question marks. But the one thing that I can guarantee is that competent organizations like Vegas and like many of them are going to continue to make moves that we know doesn't really have to really abide by what I say and what I think. Like, they're going to do what Vegas's business is meant to do. And that's to go be competent. Any and every way possible. Like I said, it doesn't matter what I think. Like Kelly McCrimmon, I'll be honest with you. If this fails for Vegas, just know this. If this move fails with Rasmus Anderson's re-signing, it's on Kelly McCrimmon for this. That's what it is. Okay? So here's the teams that I believe got better in day one of the NHL free agency. Number one, the San Jose Sharks for sure got better. Jacob Trouba, Darnell Nurse, and Mason Marchment, and on top of the draft picks that they had just gotten in this previous draft, like this San Jose Sharks team, I've been harping about this is a playoff team. This is a team that it doesn't really matter if they had missed the playoffs last year. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going with the San Jose Sharks up and into this one because Macklin Celebrini is a phenom. Will Smith and Michael Misa are really good up-and-coming stars that I think is going to really look different in the Western Conference because they could really trump over the Kings and the Oilers and maybe the Ducks. Like, I could see them finishing second in the Pacific next year. So that's where I'm at with San Jose. Next team, I got to be honest, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I really like what I'm seeing. Sergei Bobrovsky, his last big contract for 3 years. And then on top of that, they go and get Colton Sissons, a top 6 free agent center. They go and get a couple of other really good pieces. So that tells me they're keeping William Nylander, John Tavares, Austin Matthews, and Morgan Riley. They do not want to let any of those guys down. So this is an opportunity to where I think John Chaika can turn the page of what really didn't work out well in Arizona to now working well in Toronto. And I think they had a really, really good day. Another team in particular, which I really love the moves that they have been doing, is the Nashville Predators. I think this is a playoff team, in my opinion. They needed a stabilizer at the GM position because, to me, adding in Chris McFarland as their GM was the best thing that they could ever do. And what have they done? They go and get Jack Drury. They go and get a couple of other really good pieces to help to stabilize this roster because you are trying to get better and build consistency with your coach and with the roster that they already have right now with Ryan O'Reilly, Jonathan Marchessault, Brady Shea, Roman Josi, and even with Yusei Saros. Like this Nashville team will be a lot better than you can anticipate. I think they'll be a lot more consistent, and I think you're going to see exactly what their identity is about. Number 4, or like another team in particular, the Florida Panthers. I mean, these are another one that they've won back-to-back Cup championships, and they're continuing to stack up. They go and get Brady Tkachuk, which was the big fish out of them all. Eetu Luostarinen, they end up re-signing him, and then they go and get Radko Gudas back in Florida for 6 years. Now, it might be a little bit too long of a contract. I would have been okay with 4, but Florida, they know how to pick their guys. Then they go and trade for Jacob Markstrom to coming into Florida. So they were already out of the Connor Hellebuck deal because what's happening is that Connor Hellebuck, they want 3 first-round picks just for that goaltender. They want 3. That is way too steep. I mean, come on, man. What are you doing? So I think, to me, Florida is still going to be in good hands as long as this team stays healthy and as long as they continue to do the best thing that they possibly can. I think this team's going to be fine. The Washington Capitals. Nobody is really talking about them lately. Washington went and got Boone Jenner from Columbus for 4 years. They go get Brandon Duheim, and they already had ended up signing Jordan Kyrou and Alex Tuch to long-term deals. And they signed Vincent Descharnier. And so, to me, I think this Capitals team, this is the last and final ride for Alex Ovechkin. This is a final ride, maybe a ride up and into the sunset, but I'm really liking with what Washington has done in the last couple days. But I think this further boosts them up. And a couple of teams that are honorable mentions, I like with what Philadelphia has done. They've re-signed Daniel Vladar. Daniel Vladar, who is a really good up-and-coming goaltender. Love exactly what he does with Philadelphia, and it works out perfectly for the Flyers. They go and get themselves also a couple of offensive players. I think this works out really well. And they continue, like they got Carl Grundstrom back, and they're adding in a few other pieces. So Philadelphia is going to continue to be competent. I would also say the Pittsburgh Penguins made a couple of moves that I thought were pretty underrated. They go and get Declan Carlisle. They go and get a couple of other really good places, or a couple of really good players. So I like with what Philadelphia has done. And then another team that's also surprised, has continued to be competent is the Colorado Avalanche. They go and get Noah Yulson, and they also get Jaden Schwartz. That Jaden Schwartz is a really good underrated signing. I think this really helps out with the balance for the Avalanche, because like we said, they were going to be bound to be losing players anyway because of the way in which Chris McFarland now going to Nashville, what they've been able to do. So one other team that I've also been impressed with was the Utah Mammoth. Them going and getting Vincent Trocheck and Anders Lee. Oh my God. They are going to be another step above themselves, and I think it's going to really work out in their favor for the next couple of years. They got aggressive up and on offense. I think this works out perfectly with as far as the consistency of the group. They made the playoffs. They were not going to be they were not going to shrill away from like what Seattle has done, because Seattle, I cannot figure them out for the life of me. I really cannot. And so, this has been a really fantastic NHL free agency, and only in day one. I am only curious about what the rest of the days are to come, because this right here, like NBA and the NHL, and this is also part of the reason why Major League Baseball is having a problem. It's not a salary cap problem. It's a terms length problem, because Juan Soto for 15 years, 13, 12, 11-year deals, those are so overrated. In the NHL, it's different. You sign a guy to 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And the contracts are more competent. So that's why the term lengths in Major League Baseball are horrible. That's why you're seeing a lot of teams struggle the way that they are. But this has been great. Hopefully day 2 gives me something else, because I have been really amped up of it. All right, everybody. Appreciate everyone for coming on by onto the Snake Sports Talk Show. All of us, you can follow us on all social medias. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, and keep up to date on future and past shows. We appreciate everybody for being here. By the way, happy 4th of July this weekend. Be safe, okay? It's also going to be stage fires out there, so please be careful. Watch out for each other, and please make smart, responsible decisions while you're at it, please. Don't be a dingbat. Have fun. Enjoy it. Stay hydrated, and enjoy yourselves on the 250th anniversary of America the Beautiful and our nation's independence, 1776. Enjoy it. Love all of you guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys next week on the Snake Sports Talk Show. Take care.